What is up, Armchair Fandom? We're back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about Moon Knight Season 1, Episode 3. We'll be having a spoiler review about that episode. Before we start, I would just like to ask you to like our channel, like our videos, subscribe to our channel, leave a comment in the comment section below our videos, and hit the notification bell. So that you'll be notified each time we have a new video that we upload or put on our channel. And with that being said, we're going to bring in the pain in my butt, Darth Pane, and we'll be back here in just a second. What's up, Darth Pane in the butt?
What's up, the real Last Jedi? This is for you. Where, oh, where are the Jedi tonight? Why are they cowering in their caves all alone? We've searched the galaxy over trying to find one. You heard we were coming and you were gone.
Your immaturity level never ceases to amaze me.
Oh, we've only just begun, to quote Ric Flair.
Yeah. It never ceases to amaze me. So Moon Knight episode 3, man. We're a little bit behind on these reviews for this show.
Getting closer to being caught up.
Yeah, we're getting closer. We'll record a review for episode 4 after we're done with this one and upload it a little bit later. But we're not going to talk about that yet. Episode 3, I want to catch up on what this show's doing. It's like I told you in the last video when we reviewed episode 2, the first episode of this show shot my excitement for it shot straight up at the very beginning, and then it kind of just leveled off. So that's where I was at going into episode 3. I'm still there after episode 3, where my interest in it hasn't decreased. I'm not disappointed in anything, but it hasn't really intrigued me anymore like the first episode did. But episode 3, I just want to talk about it quickly. I don't want this video to be too long. There's not a whole lot to talk about in episode 3. There's a lot of intermingling storylines I want to touch on. At the very beginning of episode 3, we're giving a little bit more of a backstory to Layla and her connection to Mark. We find out her dad died. We're clued in that Mark was present. Her dad was an archaeologist, and we find out a little bit about Mark, the fact that he was present when her dad died. So what's your general takeaway from episode 3? We'll talk some more about these intermingling storylines I'm wanting to talk about, but what's your general takeaway?
I thought that I'm like you. I mean, again, I talked about in previous episodes that, not being a real fan of the character, I mean, I basically learn as I go. But I do find it very interesting, these different Egyptian gods, and the fact they've all got these avatars. And when they got all them together to have that little council meeting there, I found that to be quite interesting because, you got to see who all you're probably going to see during the course of the show. And I did like they made a reference to Maripor, I believe, from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That city, Madripoor. Madripoor, yeah, they made a reference to that. So you always got to look for them little Easter eggs and them little connectivity there. But I find the Egyptian pantheon kind of fascinating, and I think that's one of the big things that's keeping me interested in the show.
Yeah, we'll have a lot more about that to talk about when we cover episode 4. It really gets into that stuff in episode 4. But like I said, we're a little bit behind on these reviews for this show, a little bit more caught up. So going back to episode 3, I'm trying to rack my brain to remember exactly what all happened in episode 3. I got the general gist.
If I remember correctly, there's Mark blacked out 2 or 3 times, and one of the times he blacked out, the body was doing a big fight scene, and I think that's where they gave the first actual hint that there could be 3 personalities involved here. And from what I've read the comics, they said that the third one's name is Jake Lockley, so that could be the name we'll be looking at coming up in the future.
Yeah. Oh, I think. Well, I don't want to talk about that where we're behind. I just want to focus on episode 3.
Right.
We end up in Egypt. Basically, the gist of this episode, at the end of episode 2, Arthur Harrow ends up with the scarab that points the way to Ahmet's tomb. So Khonshu and Mark and Steven are behind in the game.
It's a race to get there.
This race to Ahmet's tomb. So basically, Khonshu has to do something drastic. One thing he does, you might be able to refresh my memory on what this actually does to help. But Khonshu causes a eclipse of the moon to take place. What did that cause to happen?
If I remember correctly, I think it caused them basically to show them the way there, because they were trying to figure out a way how to get there, and by lining up all the stars and everything, kind of like pointed them there.
Well, no, that was 2 different events. The eclipse caused something to happen. After Khonshu caused the eclipse, it caused all the gods to come together and have a meeting.
Yeah.
And basically put Khonshu on warning. They're not just the gods, but the avatars of all the gods. Came together and had a meeting and basically gave Khonshu a warning to quit intervening. Basically, it's basically the same thing with the Eternals. Is they decided thousands of years ago to not meddle in the affairs of man, and Khonshu tells them through the character Mark that man abandoned the gods, and their response was, or he didn't abandon man like the rest of the gods did. And then they tell Khonshu that a man abandoned them, and they had decided not to meddle in mankind's affairs. But they put Khonshu on warning, and then that leads us to a little bit. They have to go to a black market, a dealer in Egyptian relics, to find the map to Ahmet's tomb that's in another ancient coffin, basically.
Right.
Do you want to add anything to this? I don't want to just keep talking and cut you completely out.
No, not you, but it's they basically, the thing about that black market scene is that somebody from Layla's past, if I remember correctly, and while they were interacting, she bought time for Steven to go in there and basically learn what was going on with the figure out what all that stuff said on there. Then all of a sudden you had the big fight scene happen. And ironically enough, found out after the episode that the guy that played that dealer died in real life. The guy that she knew, Layla knew, apparently died in real life. Not long after that episode was filmed. That was kind of crazy to find that out.
Well, now that you say that, that's probably why they added the scene of him throwing that thing and hitting him in the back. That was probably that probably wasn't originally written to be that way for that character.
I think that's probably true.
So most times when you see somebody shot in the back and he rides off into the fog, he's showing up at a later episode. But
that's not happening.
That was probably a reshoot, if I was to guess correctly, so that since that actor died. But basically, Mark views the map or whatever, the relic they found in this coffin, and then he meets with Khonshu again, and Khonshu knows the consequences of his actions, but they're at the point now where he has to do it. But him and Mark together rotate the stars in the sky, and they're rotating them so fast it just looks like laser circles in the sky.
It was like a laser.
The stars. Yeah, he's moving the stars back in time 2,000 years to when Amet was entombed, I guess, so that they know what the stars' alignment was, because the alignment of the stars is where the tomb would be. And after they get it lined up, Layla takes a picture with a mobile device of the alignment of the stars.
Yep.
And of course, this leads the gods to carry out the sentence of entombing Khonshu in a little dust statue.
Yeah, Khonshu's kind of fun. He's such a turd, but he makes you laugh the way he acts.
Yeah.
He just can't help. He can't help himself but to get involved. He just can't help himself.
Yeah. I almost feel better about gods that get involved than gods that just sit back and watch us destroy ourselves.
Yeah, I think having a guy like him it's much more interesting and much more compelling to watch, and watching those other ones that just stand there and act like they're just drinking tea and just passing the time of day. It's like, this is not a selling point for anybody, man. You got to come up with some kind of action here.
Yeah. So that's basically where the episode ended. We got both teams. We got Arthur Harrow, the villain, and Mark Spector and Steven. What's his last name?
I saw it the other day, and now I can't remember what it is.
I just heard it.
I saw it. I can't remember what it is.
Stephen Grant.
I was getting ready to say Grant.
So his character has the location of Amet's tomb. If Amet gets released, then it's whoever's going to do anything wrong in the future is dead. And sorry about your intentions if judgment's being carried out. So they're on a race to keep her entombed now. But they both have a location of her tomb.
It almost sounds like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier whenever they were going. Not Falcon Winter Soldier, but Captain America, the Winter Soldier, whenever Hydra had those helicarriers, and they were just going to wipe out everybody who could be a potential problem in the future. It's like, hey, got that covered, man. Yeah. That sounds like almost basically what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot, like I said, there wasn't a whole lot in this episode other than it wasn't a filler episode by any means, because it carried the story forward. I mean, we're definitely building up to this climactic battle that we think. We'll talk a little bit more about that after we talk about episode 4. But there wasn't a whole lot to this episode except the story points we've already talked about that just propelled the story forward. So now we're left with Arthur Harrow, the villain, the avatar of Amet, or the former. Let me rephrase that. Amet's controlling him somehow, because we've already seen him display some magic with that staff, and he's the former avatar of Khonshu, and then you got currently the avatar of Khonshu, Mark Spector, both of them with the location of Amet's tomb. So we're building up to a confrontation now.
Yeah, and I think you see a little bit more of the interaction between, like, Mark and Steven, because whenever there's a mirror reflection, you see one talking back to the other, and you just got to remember who's got control of the body and who doesn't. You almost need like a scorecard to a degree.
Yeah.
I think you saw more of that in that episode as well.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we'll end this video. We'll be back here in a few minutes to record a review of episode 4, and then our channel will be caught up, and I'll talk to you a little bit after that, what we're going to do going forward. But we're looking to start getting a lot more content out for the channel, and we've done some things here in the last few weeks to try to improve the channel, and we're getting to the point now where we're going to actually have everything settled, where we can start doing live streams again. start doing some giveaways and start actually promoting the channel to try to get it to grow. And so that's where we're at, man. And so we'll end this video and we'll come back and talk about episode 4.
Okay.
Have a good night.
All right, later.